Spending your time robbing banks and stealing cars basically gets you a slap on the wrist in GTA 5, but getting 5 stars is an entirely different story. Instead of a few cop cars that come after you, they bring helicopters, armored trucks, and SWAT teams. It's wildly difficult. Every time I've had 5 stars in the game, I've died within 5 minutes. Ignoring all my better judgment, I'm about to try to cross the entire map of GTA with a 5-star wanted level. I'm gonna start at the top here and hopefully make it to the very bottom of the map here. I need to get to the beach from this side of the map to this side. I'm also gonna split this challenge in 2 halves, the city and the plains. The plains is gonna be a bit more simple because there are less police out here, but traveling anywhere in the city will be the hardest part of the challenge. Unlike the plains, police can literally spawn anywhere. We don't really need to worry about that now because I have the feeling that we're gonna spend a lot of time in the plains. The first thing I notice is these naturally spawning bikes left here by the previous beachgoers. It's not a car, but I'll take it. I ride up this hill and accidentally ride it off the cliff. I somehow survive it and police immediately swarm me. I continue to ride though, and a police car was directly behind me. The bike accidentally wheelies and I fall. I try to get back up only to get run over by a car. My next attempt goes the same way. I bike over the hill, jump down, and make a break for it, only to get run over by another car. On my next attempt, I figure out the hard way that there isn't a 100% chance of a bike spawning at the camp, forcing me to have to run 2 miles to the nearest vehicle I can steal. But obviously, I die before I get anywhere close. Although it seems like I'm failing a lot, I'm actually improving my strategy. I've optimized my path up the hill and found the best thing possible for this challenge. Sometimes this beach will have a group of people partying with their dirt bikes ready to steal, and if I can trade my bike for a motorbike, that will help tremendously. I make it to the highway for the first time in the challenge. I drive to the wrong side of the road and get shot and die. I turn something around in attempt 6. I do everything the same as before, but this time when I get on the highway, I make the decision to ride on the train tracks. This was the best route for me to take because if I rode it in this little divot, I wouldn't be able to be shot by the police on the road. I make it really far down the train tracks when I realize police found a way to block my path on the tracks. This is really bad for me because I instantly ruin all the momentum I had by crashing into the side of a bridge. Luckily, I crashed in a divot and survived. Maybe I'm not so lucky because a civilian crashed into me the second I got on the road. This causes me to take a bit of damage, but I get up and continue to make it farther down the road. It puts me at around 20% of the map, but at this pace, I'm gonna die before I make it to the finish. They shoot my tire, which makes me fall off my bike, giving them plenty of time to kill me. On attempt 7, I'm forced to take a new strategy because the dirt bikes didn't spawn in their usual spot. I ride up to this parking lot where I find a semi-truck with just this truck part. I decide to ride in this because even though it's a lot slower than most vehicles, it has a ton of metal that can protect me from police's gunfire. It seems to work better than the motorbike already. I'm taking a lot less damage and have more control of the vehicle. I drive down the train tracks again and make it all the way back to where I was before. The truck is taking a lot of damage though, and one of my tires popped. I accidentally run over this dude minding his own business and I realize I can't turn. So I end up just driving straight into the desert and get trapped under a bridge. I get out of the truck and try to steal a cop car, but die instantly. I made it to 30% of the map, almost doubling my previous progress. This time I am again forced to make my strategy different. Instead of a motorbike spawning, it spawns a 4-wheeler. This has much worse handling and it has absolutely zero protection, but it's better than the bike, so I take it and drive to the mountains. My thought is that if I drive into the mountains, the only cops that can reach me would be the SWAT helicopter, meaning that as long as I keep moving, I'll be fine. Then my 4-wheeler breaks while trying to go up the hill, causing me to have to run all the way up the mountain. Somehow I take 0 damage while running up the mountain with a huge group of cops running behind me. I find a motorbike at the top and decide to drive down the mountain at top speed. I'm not that good at riding, so I lose the path and fall to my death. This attempt, I get unlucky with the spawn chances and get another 4-wheeler. I ride it down the beach to a conveniently placed parking lot and attempt to get in a car. I fumble with the controls, accidentally parking it in front of the car door, making my character run around the car to get in, opening me up for all the police to shoot me. It's attempt 10, and the farthest I've gotten is around 30% of the map, but I still have hope that this challenge isn't impossible. I make the big brain move to swim in the ocean until I find a police boat so I can hijack it. It doesn't go well considering I forgot there were 2 armed guards with shotguns on each boat. I decide to stay on the beach instead of the highway for this attempt. Once the beach ends, I make it to the train tracks where I subsequently crash into a police car and die. Attempt 13, I get an ATV and find a car for the first time in this challenge. I ride it down the road for a while and end up riding off the road. I spend a lot of time off-roading this clearly not meant for off-roading vehicle and it gets damaged a lot. Even though it's damaged, I make it all the way to the 50% mark of the map. I'm now entering the city, which is going to be the hardest part of the challenge. As I get closer and closer to civilization, I notice more police chasing me. My car lost a tire, and I can only move at half the speed I used to. I'm now on the last bit of road before I get to the city, and there's a horde of police all damaging me and my car. I can see the beginning of the city in the distance as I try to avoid the pit maneuvers, but I get shot in the back of the head by a police van that pulls up behind me. I'm beginning to doubt if I can even do this as I ride my bike down to the beach. Is it really possible? Am I willing to spend the next couple of hours on this? Yes. I bike up to the highway where I stop a group of cars. I steal the car that looks the fastest and drive away as fast as possible. Once I'm in the car, I realize that I've trapped a victim in here with me. I vow to take him all the way to the end of this challenge with me, and I name him Jim Bob. Jim Bob was the thing that was missing the whole time. He was all I needed to win this challenge. The second I stopped though, he jumped out of the car and ran away screaming. Weird. I go through this tunnel where a pileup of cars is at the end. I do this insane trick that I dare anyone else to try and make it out of there with only minor damage. I'm on amazing pace and I have most of my health. The car isn't too badly damaged besides a popped tire. I make it to the 50% mark of the map by the highway. I get knocked off into the sand, but I realize I might be able to follow these train tracks. This ends up being the best decision I've made throughout the entire challenge because I was able to glide through the highway without any oncoming cars or things blocking me. Sure, I got shot and almost died on multiple occasions, but so far this was the best I've ever done. The tracks lead to this tunnel, which caused me to hesitate. This tunnel could prevent me from taking damage for a while, but I would almost assuredly be trapped by the police vans blocking the exit. I decide to drive through the tunnel anyway, making every effort to go as fast as I can. Surprisingly, no cop car was waiting for me on the other side. I did almost run into a train due to my lack of steering ability, and I was faced with another decision as I drove into another tunnel. This time, I was met by a ton of police cars tailing me closely. It was now a matter of time. I either get shot, my car fails, or I win the challenge. I get stopped in my tracks before I enter the road to get to the airport where the finish is. I dodge and weave through the police as I make it to the entrance. My steering is so bad and I crash right before it. I somehow make it through and make a dash to the finish with every police officer in GTA 5 after me. I make it to the fence, which I realize I have to get out of my car to pass. I get out and risk being shot as I jump over the edge of the airport, almost die, and make it to the water. I made it! Let's go! Let's go! Oh my god. This challenge took me almost 2 hours and was probably the hardest gaming challenge I've done yet. So I want to extend this challenge to anyone watching. Try to beat this yourself and tag me in it if you do. I want to see if anyone can get a better time than me. Subscribe if you enjoyed.